go out to eat with them because we enjoy going out to eat as a family. It's like one of the things that we do. No screens. It's just, it's one of the things that we like to do. And so they didn't understand that, or like, oh, try this, mommy. Like, no, I can't. Or I was like, no, thank you. You never said I can. I was like, no, thank you. So they didn't understand that. And then, but they wanted to go to the show. And we actually had a discussion, my son, who was 11 at the time, like, oh, should he go? It's a bunch of beautiful women on, in scantily bathing, bikinis. So again, it's just a lot of not understanding. So the second time around was just much smoother. And this time around, I feel like I'm maintaining a pretty good balance. Like you guys said, it's all about time management. I wake up early. On the weekends, I wake up early to get my workout in, so I don't take away time from them. During the week, I go while they're in school. So I try not to take any time away from them. I mean, I just kind of picked my must do's and my should do's. So my must do's, I have to get my workout in. I have to do my macros, so whether that's food prep or whatever, and I must practice. And my other must is I must be present with my family. So just, the should do's, like my house isn't clean. It might not be the cleanest that it's been.
It happens.
Dishes can wait. Even like extra classes and like yoga and stuff like that, stuff that would still benefit me and that I still want to do, but it is going to take away time from that. Like, you just kind of have to do your musts and your shoulds. And if you can do your shoulds, great, but I have to do my musts. So that's how I'm kind of balancing it.
It's hard. I mean, competing in fitness, bikini, whatever it is, it's a selfish thing. I mean, we're doing it and we're concerned with, the way we look. And so to balance all of that out is really hard. And I commend any person who does it, because whether it's balancing your kids or balancing your job, because sometimes preparing for a competition is like a full-time job.
It is a full-time job. It does feel like that. Yeah. But one thing about my kids, and it was suggestion from Aubrey from the first show, and it's kind of continued. She said peak week obviously is a little bit, rough. So she said to put postcards up around post-it notes of like positive sayings and everything like that. So I started doing that, and then my daughter wanted to help me. And then as I went through the week, I found ones that she wrote, ones that my son wrote, ones that my husband wrote. So that's awesome. That was awesome.
Goosebumps. That's awesome.
So they're very supportive.
I love that. All right. So switching gears just to touch again, there's so many different organizations within that bodybuilding umbrella, the fitness competitions, the bodybuilding, the bikini. Aubrey, how did you decide what organization you wanted to do? I know my story. I'll share that with you in a second, but I want to hear how you guys decided on your organization.
All I knew was Fitness America at the time. And Andi, what was the other organization that was comparable to Fitness America that Elsie Latava always competed in?
There was Ms. Fitness.
Ms. Fitness, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was Ms. Fitness, and with actually the OCB used to have a fitness category.
Yes. We did that. You wore a gown.
Yes. Oh my God. And we did those speeches. That was a huge, life lesson. Oh my God. I don't know. But yeah. So I got into it really because all I saw was on ESPN. And I saw a woman do a one-arm push-up, and I was like, I want to do that. I'm going to do it. And I put like one-arm push-ups in everything I do to this day. And so Fitness America to me is very interesting because, in the fitness category, we competed against some, people coming in from Russia. You gotta watch out, man. These people are too legit to quit. And Fitness America does say that they're a natural organization, but let's be real, like they don't test. So we don't really know, but we just do it anyway, Andi. And but for me, I just don't have a calling to do any type of performance enhancing drugs at this stage in my life. It just is not something that I think fits my roles that I have for myself. So I look to natural shows, and that's why, I got into the OCB, because they do drug tests, and I know it is hard to drug test accurately, but I think that they do a really great job, or at least the best that they can, to compare apples to apples. And, they do have a polygraph test that they give everyone, which, yes, you could beat that with a beta blocker, but they also do a urinalysis test with the winners. And of course you can beat that as well. But how they take it above and beyond is that they will do a random drug test and just up at your gym and say, hey, surprise, you got to pee in a cup for us real quick. And, they really do. And I think that's the closest that I can get to make sure that I'm competing with people that are just having similar interests, and I was never really interested in, trying to go up against athletes who are in performance enhancing drugs, because it doesn't make sense. Like, what am I trying to prove? Right. I remember, Stacey Longo, she even said that, she goes, I tried to do that once. Like, I can do this. I can be bigger and better than someone on steroids. And she's like, nope, no, you can't. And I give it, it takes massive amounts of commitment with either mindset. I think it just depends on what feels right for that individual. And what's your end game? I think that's the thing. Like, what is your end game? If your end game is to be, Miss Olympia, then you are going to decide to perhaps do something different than someone who wants to be Miss America or Miss Fitness.
Right. I'm totally on board with you. All I knew was Fitness America as well. Like I said, I watched those shows on ESPN, and that just seemed like a great fit for me. And when I decided to do it, you guys, this was 1999, and the internet was brand new. There wasn't a lot of information, but I looked up Fitness America, and I saw that there was one in the town I lived in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And so I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I can do what those girls on TV did. So it was a no-brainer that was the organization I was going to at least start with. And there was a girl at my gym who she said she would do it with me, Jeannie Haberstroh, and we trained together and we did that one. But then a couple months later, there was an NPC show in Pittsburgh. And we're like, well, we're already ready. Let's do that one too. Oh, y'all, I was in for a rude awakening. I looked like a little kid. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe this isn't the one for me. Maybe I need to stick with Fitness America. Yeah. And I did dabble in OCB. I did the Ms. Fitness, and I liked those. I always migrated back to Fitness America. That just felt like home to me. My physique fit in there. Yeah. I have nothing against anyone who chooses to use a performance enhancing drug, because they need to work their asses off too. Yeah. I just am going to decide to work my ass off without it and try and compete against people who are in the same boat as me. Yeah, so that's what that is. Andi, I will say two things. How lucky were we to live in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, for Bill Viola to have the biggest fitness expo right in our backyard? I know. America to be so there, fortunate, like those top athletes. I look back at that and I was like, what? Like, how can I know? I'm like, hey, it's my house. I'll do it where people are flying in from all over. And I just think that is absolutely amazing. And he didn't actually start the Fitness America there. It was a guy named Dean something, and he would do it at in Murraysville at a high school, and we did it at the Gateway Middle School one time, and then eventually Bill took it over and we did it at Kumite, which was awesome. He always had such a good stage, and amazing. So we were very, very fortunate to have that right in our backyard. And I think this is why we do like Fitness America, or at least we did, is because when you go to a Fitness America show, get ready. It is a freaking rock concert. It is like a model bomb exploded. There are so many, I don't know, the energy to a Fitness America show. You got the DJ, you got the lights. It is something. So yeah, we just need to get them to start on time. Let's remember that. And there's a caveat. Right. Now, Alyssa, you've only done OCB. Do you feel like that's a good fit for you?
I do, yeah. I mean, I honestly didn't even realize there were other organizations up until recently.
Yeah, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the same thing. I have no desire to do performance enhancing at this stage of my life. Yeah. If I started when I was younger, possibly.
Yeah. But well, Aubrey, you and I have both been coaches to other competitors. And now I feel like I see this all the time. People do one fitness show and they're like, I'm a coach now. Come on, come work with me. I'm a coach now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like you and I have the credentials education wise to back it up, but we also have the performance background to back it up. Tell me how you kind of got into coaching other people.
I'm going to tell you this, what I told Alyssa. This is the one area of my business that I didn't actively say, I want to do that. People started to come to me because I competed, and it's a very blurred line. Just because I am a fitness expert and a nutrition specialist does not mean that my hobby needs to coincide with that. And, competing in bikini now, it is a hobby of mine. It feels like a full-time job. But what happened was I got into it because there was kind of nobody else in the area that was helping women with posing. And I was doing the best that I could. This was before the OCB and the other organizations put things on social media. And I was just basing, how to help people with what I learned with Kathy Savage, with what I learned with my stage background as a dancer. And I would help them with their stage presence. And I think I was naturally good at it, but it's not only up until recently that I have found getting back into competing is that posing has evolved like nobody's business.
No kidding. Yes.
Yeah. And, I kind of almost was a little too nonchalant with it. I was like, I'm a dancer. I can do anything. It's choreography. And even though that's true, but I did not really know until I teamed up with, the head of the organization here with the OCB, no, there's so many subtleties. I was glossing over so much. So I have learned and been schooled quite a bit. Now I love helping women with posing and that sort of thing. But this is the only part of my business that I fell into that I didn't actively say, I want to do that, because it is very challenging to do it.
Yeah. And there are so many coaches out there who they're like, okay, we're going to take 12 weeks and they just go extreme. And that might work for one show, but we know longevity in the sport, you can't do that.
Right.
So you really have to take people's health into consideration when you're dieting them down and ramping up their workouts. Yeah, I totally agree. I did the same thing. What's that?
It is a guessing game. I talked to a male coach today and I was refreshed to hear him say that. I said, you can plug in the numbers of someone's macros. You can help them all you want, but literally you're not living in their body. Mm-hmm. So you're doing the best that you can to find their blind spots, but to be so strict with this is the number of calories that you need to be eating. I'm telling you, it's not my favorite thing.
I know. I was the same as you. People would come to me early on and be like, can you coach me? Can you do this? And I would help people here and there. But I had to coach myself. I was a sponsored athlete with Kathy Savage Fitness like you were. And, they helped me out. So that was a learning curve. But then in 2008, we were at the Fitness Universe, and Kathy, who was one of my good friends, at the time, she's like, Andi, my business partner's leaving. Do you want to come and help me run this business, this Kathy Savage Fitness, training competitors and everything? I'm like, well, sure, why not? And I did that for almost 10 years. And I'm grateful for Kathy for giving me that opportunity. I was able to implement a lot of cool stuff with it. I learned so much from her and so much from the clients. Mm-hmm. And it was a really fun time to be involved in fitness, because if I wasn't at a show competing, I was there coaching other women and with all the other coaches. And I have made lifelong friends with that. Some of my best friends are from those years. So I definitely don't take any of it.
Really did make such a dynamic duo. And it was so apparent, when you came into the picture as well. And just me, authentically looking back on it, I mean, the empire that she created that gave all these women this experience was huge. It was also a huge boon for Fitness America, because, Kathy really encouraged her athletes to do Fitness America. It seemed like that was her go-to as well. So it was.
Yeah, and we would have 60, 70 girls there competing. I mean, that's unheard of these days. Unfortunately, the shows aren't as big, but it was so fun because you always had a friend within arm's length, and that was such a fun thing. But I am retired from all of that, from the coaching and the competing, but you guys aren't. So I know Alyssa is competing in about 7 weeks. Is that right?
Yeah.
And Aubrey, your show will be in September. What are you guys doing different than you did way back in the beginning?
You want to go, Alyssa?
Sure, I'll go first. So training for this show is so much different than my first and my second as well. For one, I'm in the gym 5 to 6 days a week, doing muscle groups at least twice a week, some more. But I think the biggest thing that's changed is I don't know if my why's changed or if I just realized my why. So when Aubrey first asked me, and at first I was like, no. And then I was like, okay, well, why not? I'm 40. This is, I'm going to do this because I'm 40 and I want to show that what 40 can be, you know what I mean? Because we all have it in our head. 40 is like, well, it's not over the hill, but you know what I mean? It's like that scary number. So anyway, so I was like, why not? But truly the why now and what I realize is I'm doing it for me, and I'm doing it for the versions of me up until this point. So I'm doing it for the girl that was picked last in gym class. I'm doing it for the awkward teenage girl who never thought she was pretty or strong, just never felt like she fit in. Gonna get choked up. I'm doing it for the girl in her 20s who drank way too much, made too many wrong decisions, and like took broken roads to get to where she was. The woman in her 30s who was raising children, and even though they were the light of her life, she was slowly losing her own identity and was just mom. And now I'm doing it for me in my 40s to prove it to myself that I can, to have a goal that's so scary that you have no choice but to work hard for it. It's something that excites you every morning when you get up. And I want to show my kids, I want to lead by example that hard work, dedication, and discipline can do. So I did it really to inspire them, to set scary goals and chase after them. And honestly, last show, my goal was just to do better than I did the first time, which I did. But I also came in dead last in every category, which just getting up there is a huge accomplishment. And I know that, but there's something mentally about being dead last. Going back to everything that I said, getting picked last in gym class. So like, not this time.
I love that. Aubrey, what's your training look like, or what are you doing differently than you did back in, what was it, 2007, 5?
I got everything, right? Back in 2007, we counted calories. And back in 2007, I had artificial sweeteners in my diet. And back in 2007, I was starving. I was like chicken, one apple, romaine lettuce, and then my treat was like a cup of sugar-free hot cocoa. And my calories were like 12 to 1400. And that works your first show, by the way. That works your very first show. But after that, it don't work no more because that gets old real quick. So I am night and day. Like, I've evolved so hard. People who know of the Aubrey work that existed in 2007, she gone, and it's just totally different. Like, we all have evolved, but like my relationship with food has changed tremendously. And Andi, I know you've witnessed so much. You've witnessed Aubrey, the alcoholic, not really alcoholic, but almost.
The wine lover.
The wine lover, yes. To me, just, really using food to heal. And I want to help people heal. This is the conundrum that I have. And I tell Alyssa, coaching bikini competitors with things now that I feel like are outdated information. So my nutrition has changed exponentially. I love fruit, and fruit used to be vilified when you are training for a show. And Andi, I know that you know that. Too much sugar, and I don't buy it or believe it. Just like I don't buy or believe that abs are made in the kitchen, because even though that's half the truth, but believe me, I work my abs almost every day to get a 6-pack. And I never had one until I did. And I never had a 6-pack until after I had a kid, to say, wait a minute, hold up. I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to do my own experiment. But training, I train like a dude, and I train like and maybe all chicks do this too, but like I train now when I don't stop my repetitions until it starts to, well, as soon as it starts to hurt, then it's when I start to count my reps. I'm like Muhammad Ali style. So I know that growth is going to come at the end of where that's that 12th rep. And I was like, oh no, that don't hurt enough. And then if I can't, I'll wait like 15 seconds and I'll keep going. So my technique has changed because I just stopped listening to what I learned in college.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. You know, it's hard. Like you said, that first show, you can do anything and like do the bare minimum and get lean. We've learned over the years, and this is one of the things when I worked with Kathy, is we wanted to keep people healthy too. We just didn't want to go and burn out their adrenals and get them shredded. And I think every year with you, you keep evolving with that and making sure your health is your priority while you're getting ripped and shredded. And you really can do it. Yeah. It's not impossible. So I love that.
We both, and this we'll tee up for our next podcast, and how, you know, over 40 you can stay lean year round. A lot of times people want to look show ready all year round, and Andi, you've achieved that. I feel like I mean, I'm going to toot my own horn for a second. I feel pretty damn good, and I don't give a shit what the scale says right now. I got on the scale today and I was like, don't like that number. And then I went to the gym. I was like, yeah, but that's looking pretty good, you know? So it's a matter of like, really just like, I mean, it is the lifestyle. Everybody says that, but I don't know how you could have looked any better than when I first met you. But
oh, you're sweet. But I actually feel like I do. When I competed, it was like I would look awesome for my show. I would look good, you know, the 6 weeks leading up. And then I would look healthy and fit the rest of the time, but I wasn't lean and, you know,
like
sporting my six pack or whatever. And now I'm just consistent. I mean, I know that's like beating a dead horse. Nobody wants to hear that. You just need to be consistent. But really, you just need to be consistent. My nutrition is consistent 90% of the time. My workouts are almost always on because I really love to work out. But I eat, and eating is one of my favorite things to do. And people see me and they're like, people are like, how are you so lean? Well, I pick and choose when I have those fun foods, and I don't overdo it with them, and have them maybe once or twice a week. And, you know, so it can be done. And maybe just there's not as much stress since I'm not competing. I don't know. But people ask me a lot if I'm ever going to compete again. And no, I'm not. What I would love to do, though, is I think we need to call up Lou Zwick. He was the head of Fitness Universe, Fitness America. And we need to tell him that we need a reunion, a fitness girl reunion.
Keep saying it. We
I know.
On the board before FAP is no longer a thing. We just got to do it.
I know. And unfortunately, they have very few fitness competitors anymore. So I think we could revive it. I think we could go back and maybe call up Tony G, have him come do some choreography for us, have an opening number. I don't know. Lou, if you're listening, let's work on that.
We're sending this to you. Well, and you know, I want to say one thing with Alyssa on her journey, and what was just really apparent to me. You know, Alyssa, as you're embarking on now your third show, where you said, you know, your first show, it's like, you don't really understand it. Second one, you're like, that makes more sense. And then third one, you're like in it to win it. And sometimes that's what it takes. And it just depends on where you are. We say this all the time with each other in your season of life. And I knew where you were in your season of life, because I felt like in my heart of hearts, if I would have pushed you to the point of like, all right, no, this has to be the first show that you do and that you win, I don't know if you would have come back. And like, I don't know that. You know, sometimes it's like, okay, I know my clients well enough, and where I have to like meet them halfway, you know, where they are, where it's like, okay. And I don't know if you felt that, Alyssa, or if you're like, maybe me saying that like pisses you off, but you know, I see you now where it's like, as you're into it, you're like, oh, all right, hold up, wait a minute. And like you said, you realized your why. And that was like the light bulb moment. We were in a posing session together, and I was like, that's the person that I was waiting to see, because I didn't see that the first time around. And it is where, you know, it depends on the client. Like, honestly, it's like, okay, if they are just, again, what is happening with that person. So it's been awesome to witness, and I'm really excited to see what happens on April 30th.
Yes, come see my show. Pittsburgh. Andi, you're coming, right?
I would love to. I would love to. Well, as long as there's no baseball games, I will be there.
Yeah, I know. Understand.
Yeah. Well, this was fun. I like reminiscing about the old days of fitness, and
it was so fun.
I like living vicariously through you guys.
All right. Well, next trip is in Vegas, where we will have a Fitness America reunion. Let's put it out there.
I love that.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for chatting all about the fitness world and our little Arnold recap. And everyone, listeners, stay tuned for our next podcast where, as Aubrey said, we're going to talk about how to stay lean over 40.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.